Thanks to a subscriber request, I'm going to start a series 1 upload per week of Adobe InDesign Basics. Each week we'll be going to take a deeper and more detailed look into the heavyweight publishing tool Adobe InDesign. Today we're going to be looking at how to set up a poster design for print in InDesign. Next week's episode of InDesign Basics will be a tutorial around InDesign essential tools, so be sure to check out that when I upload it. Welcome back to Satori Graphics. Hope you had a great weekend and you're ready for a dose of InDesign Basics. Like I said in the intro, this was requested by a few subscribers and I think it's a great suggestion to delve into. Adobe InDesign can be both daunting as well as neglected when considering the three major Adobe graphic design programs, Illustrator, Photoshop and InDesign. However, we should think of all three as useful tools, each with their own place. A mechanic will have various tools in his or her toolbox for different purposes. And trust me, InDesign has numerous purposes. It is mainly used for laying out large documents for print, such as brochures and magazines, but it can be used to export one-page designs, such as posters for print, as you're going to see in today's tutorial on InDesign Basics. So the first episode of InDesign Basics is how to set up a poster design for print. Depending on the style of your poster, it's probably best to design the background with Photoshop, simply because it's the best program for photo manipulation and digital painting. Remember, I said at the start of this tutorial that each Adobe program has its place and value. The key thing to remember is that you must add all of your text and typography and logos in InDesign and not Photoshop. This is because we want to make sure that when you print your design, the text and logos print out crisp and clear. Designing everything in Photoshop and then exporting it to InDesign can lead to blurry outcomes. So my advice is to design the background of your poster in Photoshop, export it to InDesign, and then add your text and logos content after. You can lay out your text in Photoshop to see how it's going to look for your overall design, and then put it in InDesign after. Let's say we're working on an A3 poster. Go ahead and create an A3 document in Photoshop, but make sure to use 300 ppi as well as the CMYK mode. We will need to add bleeds to the final project design so the printers can align, crop and cut the poster correctly. You can run with a 3mm bleed, but on something as large as A3 you can use 5mm. Hit Command R or Ctrl R on a PC to bring up your rulers in Photoshop and then drag the guides down. Then you go up to Image, Canvas Size and add 10mm for your height and width. This will ensure the 5mm bleed around the entire design. Everything outside of these guides will be cut away and discarded. Let the background bleed over it, hence the name bleed. Keep all important content inside. So like I said, only create the background in Photoshop, focusing on the artwork side of things. You can add the text content purely to see how it's going to look, but make sure to hide the layers when you save it. Flatten your design and then save it as a JPEG in Photoshop and use the maximum quality possible. Now over to InDesign. Before we start, open up the Units and Increments preference window here. We want to make sure that everything is in millimeters. If it isn't, change it to millimeters and then close InDesign and restart it again. Go up to File and New Document. For a poster design we need just one page and it's for print, so select the print option. Here we can choose the orientation, i.e. landscape or portrait. And here is the paper size. For this poster we're going to use A3. You can forget the column section as this is mainly used for magazine and editorial design. If you recall back to Photoshop, we use 5mm bleed around the entire poster design. So type in 5 here and then click this icon to add it around the entire canvas. We can preview our document page if we want to, and then once you're happy, click OK. Once generated, you will have something like this appear. You will notice the red line around the outside of the canvas. This is our 5mm bleed. Grab the rectangle frame tool by clicking F or going over to it manually, and make a box that covers the entire document up to the bleeds like so. Then head up to File and place and locate your poster background. It should generate exactly in place. If it seems a bit blurry on your screen, that's probably because InDesign has a default setting where the view mode is not high quality, but we can change that here. One important feature of InDesign you must keep in mind is how it links images that are imported into it. If you see this link icon here, that means everything's okay. This is telling you that InDesign knows where this image came from on your computer and where it's saved from Photoshop. If you move the file around to a different location on your computer or delete it, you will see this icon appear. It is best to save all of your work efficiently in folders and keep it organized so you don't lose files. If you do have this icon appear, click it and then relocate the files that you have. InDesign likes to know where all the images are at times. It can cause errors when printing and saving if InDesign doesn't know where the files are. First, let's import our logo. Go up to File and then Place and locate the file. In InDesign, there are two selection tools that perform different tasks. The white arrow tool will resize and move the image itself around, in this case the logo. If you move the actual logo with the white arrow tool, so only part of the graphic is visible, this will how it's going to print. The black arrow tool will remove the box or the frame that it's in. You can resize both the frame and the image at the same time, however, with the free transform tool here. This small area here is where your bleed will be cut out and thrown away after printing. For adding text, simply create a box, like so, and then type away. InDesign offers a wide range of customization of typography with regards to laying it out for publishing. Once you're happy, you will need to select your text and then create outlines like so. This would ensure there are no printing errors because you are not certain that the printing company has your font on their computer. You can also send them the font file with the design. Either way, it's going to work. Go up to File and Export. Select the PDF print option here. I must add, however, you should talk to your printing company about the file type, as each company has their own preference. I then select the newest version of Acrobat. Make sure that the compression output is high quality, and use all printing marks. And then at the end, if there are any warnings, they'll be flagged in the summary section. And there you have it, a print-ready poster design using Adobe InDesign. This was the first episode of InDesign Basics. Next week we'll be looking at the essential tools of InDesign. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comment section below. And remember to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done already. Until next time, design your future today. Peace.